Welcome to Frontline World War II, my friends. We're going to be taking a look at the campaign today. Now you can see here that a number of different actual battles pop up, including Crete, the Ardennes, and the Coral Sea, but right now we're focusing on Africa. We want to try and push through the German lines and break Rommel's stronghold. So let's get in here. So guys, you can see here that we have to intercept the enemy supply convoy. That's really our main task, is to try and destroy that convoy, stop it from leaving the map. We can also try to capture the Salom area here. We need to call in one airstrike. Now, both of these are optional, so keep that in mind when you're playing the game. If you just want to go for the main mission goal, that's fine. It's not a problem, but these are optional things that are going to give you more points at the end of the battle. Let's make it happen. So first things first, we have a number of vehicles here, a Rolls-Royce 1920 Mark I, as well as a Vickers Mark I. These are mainly machine gun-based vehicles. What I want to try to do, move up here, knock out all of the enemies over here trying to ambush us, and then go for the trucks. I hope they can't get off the actual map itself, but that's certainly a possibility up here. So we probably want to take these things out fairly quickly. We've got a few different abilities here, and this is one of them, the Infantry Suppression ability. This is useful once we actually deal with infantry units. We also want to watch out for these infantry units that are actually boosted by their skill level. They could be a bit tougher to take out, but I'm going to be very straightforward at first. I don't know how long it's going to be to take these trucks out, so let's open up with our Rolls-Royce. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Let's move the men up. And you can see this pattern right here, this sort of circular pattern you see, really more of a diamond shape, is the amount of line of sight of our infantry unit. So for instance, he can hit any of the tiles near his tile, but he can't go 2 tiles away, 3 tiles away, etc. There are some units that can do that, like sniper units, like this Italian unit right here at Salom. We want to be very careful. We don't want to approach them if we can help it. The same goes for our Vickers. He can only fire 1 tile away, so I'm going straight for one of the supply trucks. Again, you got to focus on that main task there to bring up the other Vickers. And we're just trading 1 for 1 with the BA-40. The last thing I need is an enemy APC nearby. And we also have 1,200 to spend, guys. And in this mission, you want to be careful because 1,200, as you can see, a lot of these units are pretty damn close to 1,200. What I am going to do is I really wanted to get a sharpshooter unit, but now I'm starting to think that maybe we need another Rolls-Royce Mark I. Yeah, I'm going to get another Rolls-Royce Mark I. I know, I'm evil. And of course, as you would expect, you can only move this next turn. We can't just immediately get it on the move. You can also go ahead and purchase an airstrike, and I am going to purchase some to try and knock out the BA-40. Oh yeah, beautiful. Now keep in mind, in the Desert Storm campaign, there was a huge amount of air power, of course, supporting units in ground combat. So it's very, very important. We also unlocked that additional objective, so that means if we can complete the mission, we're going to come out looking pretty good. I'm very concerned that he's going to try to repair that before I come back, but I'm not sure I want to spend... yeah, we can't spend it anyway. So I like what they did here. In the previous game, previous Frontline game, if you did an airstrike, you could just continuously do airstrikes for like 100, 200, or 100 points, etc. Here, it seems that it goes up in price the more you use them. I like that. I think that's a really good approach to make sure people are not overusing the airstrike button. Okay, yep, just as I expected. He absolutely repaired himself, and another thing is that truck is getting away. So, I'm gonna move up. I'm hoping that our Rolls-Royce here can actually take this guy out. I don't think he can, as you can see. We can damage him a bit, which, better than nothing, of course. Open fire. Good shots, boys. I'd love to get that infantry in there, but can he actually do any damage here? I think he actually has a better chance against the actual 61st Infantry Division. But look at this. We have a sneak attack. Although I'm not sure how effective this is going to be since we're not actually sneaking. Yeah, we would only do 1 damage, so I'm just going to do a standard attack here. Save our sneak. and just go ahead and attack the infantry. Let's get rid of the infantry here. And the reason being, it's a sniper unit. It could be problematic, and we're going to do more damage to an infantry unit anyway, given our special air service unit here. A lot of nasty fighting going on in that, I want to call it just a desert oasis area. I guess you could call it a small jungle, but really this is more oasis territory, savanna, plains, etc. That guy's a problem, though, and as you can see, he's beaten our infantry up pretty badly. Now, when the counter reaches 0, the unit is lost. Healing and resupplying will be available in later missions. So in this mission, we don't have the ability to heal and resupply. Definitely something to keep in mind. You don't want to get your guys too low to the end, and this is the button we're going to be using. So that's good to know for the future. And in the meantime, I need to go after that supply truck. Let's surround the enemy infantry here, the Bersaglieri regiment. We can even see the German commander here behind the Italian troop. I love that little bit of detail. Push up again. I'm going to try to get that additional objective eventually, but right now my main focus is the Bersaglieri regiment. We saw just how quickly they were able to resupply, so I really want to see if we can wipe them out. Molto bene. Yes, very good. Even the Italians would be impressed. And look at that, guys. A kill for our Rolls Royce. It's looking pretty nice. What I am going to do, I don't think there's any point in attacking a jungle tile from a land tile. It's probably not going to go well for us. But he's pretty weak, and we do need to get to Salom. I'm going to do it, even though I really don't think it's such a good idea. And maybe a smoke? No, we can't use the smoke grenade. Let's just attack. If we lose one group of SAS, they'll have died gloriously. Unfortunately, we didn't even do any damage to them. That's okay. End the turn. Now they're actually trying to fight back at us from Salom, and unlike us, they can resupply. It looks like their ability to resupply is pretty apparent here, and so they're just resupplying near Salom, trying to keep us out. If we could break through the city this turn, I think that would be great, but I'm not sure we'll even be able to break in a few turns if they keep reinforcing that unit. Here we go. I'm glad we kept the Rolls-Royce Mark I here. I think that was definitely the right move. And even though it said 0-0 there, those are the odds. So for instance, if you're going to attack an enemy and it says, you know, -2 on your side, 0 on the enemy side, it's probably not an attack you want to carry out. The reason I carried out that 0-0 attack is we were very close to the end. Both of us are at 3. We're the same number, and the chances are that we're actually going to get that hit first. So we did of course take away 1. It's completely up to you whether you think that's worth it. And of course, it's not set in stone. So even though it says 0-0, sometimes it'll be 1-0 instead, or 2-0. You never really know. Let's end there. Another thing worrying me is over there in the far corners of the map, I'm seeing additional question marks, which leads me to believe, are they hiding other vehicles? I hope not. All right, let's go up here. Oh. There we go. Just gonna move behind them. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and move into Salom, guys. It's also going to give us some resources. You can see there, 1,375. Don't mind if I do. And I dare say, we've completely wiped out any sort of Italian resistance, at least in this part of the map. I'm not going to spend that cash yet until I know exactly what's going on. I'm just going to hit the victory button. And I do believe we have a fair victory. So we could have done a few additional things here, but I think it's pretty good there. Units destroyed 7. We had 0 units lost on our side, and damage dealt 669 over the enemy's 150. Not too bad, wrapped up in 4 turns. I'll take it. Now, as we continue, guys, the next operation we have is Crete. Crete is an absolutely fascinating operation for the Wehrmacht, and specifically because this was an island where the British, more importantly the Allies, had full control of the waters around Crete. You know, they perfectly controlled it. There was no way the Germans could launch a naval invasion. So what they did was they launched one of the largest paratroop invasions ever. And I believe we're probably going to be jumping into that here. Let's take a look. So there we go. Yes, liberate the island of Crete, clear the main route, and call in one airstrike. And you can see here it began on the morning of the 20th of May 1941 with an airborne invasion of Crete. Greek and other allied forces, along with Cretan civilians, defended the island. After one day of fighting, the Germans had suffered heavy casualties, and the allied troops were confident that they would defeat the invasion. The next day, through communication failures, Allied tactical hesitation, and German offensive operations, Malem airfield in western Crete fell, enabling the Germans to land reinforcements on the island. Of course, that is exactly what happened here. We're playing as the defenders of Crete here, so we are just trying to defend the island as best we can and knock them out from a distance. Let's just see. Defensive bonuses. Maybe we should be on the defensive initially here. I think what we should do is target the AT gun. But you can see here that the German paratrooper units, the Fallschirmjägers, are at 16, which is quite high, I must admit. I'm going to try to defend with this unit, and we're actually playing with Greek units. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Oh, look at that. Perfect shot. And from a distance, look at the damage that our marksman did. This is a British marksman, despite the fact that many of our infantry are actually Greek units. And I'm going to get another one of those marksmen, man. Well, this is just a mountain brigade. That's just a rifle brigade. Let's get a Matilda tank. Good old-fashioned Matilda tank. We've got one here, but you can never have too many tanks, am I right? We absolutely want to do something about that gun, though. In fact, calling in an airstrike wouldn't be such a bad idea, because he's a major threat to our armor. And there we go. We also completed that objective. And I'm going to call in the second airstrike on this infantry unit, this Fallschirmjäger unit. The reason being, they're pretty strong. We don't exactly have forces that could stand up to them in a one-on-one fight. And look at all those arriving German paratroopers. Always a terrifying sight, to say the least. Now, thankfully, we've got a little trick up our sleeve, and that is the Her Majesty's ship, Liverpool. Like I told you guys initially here, this entire Battle of Crete really happened with the British controlling the sea and the Germans only being in here with the Fallschirmjägers. So if they can't get a victory with the Fallschirmjägers, well, they're in a bind. I think I'm going to open up on the actual infantry. Typically, I would hit the anti-tank gun, but this infantry is very beefy, not to mention it's got cover. This infantry, of course, in the mountains with this infantry in the forest. I think we need to be very careful. I also really like what the Frontline crew did here with these small urban buildings. This is a neat touch, and definitely just a pretty look, at the very least. Here we go. Absolutely bombarded him. He's down to 8 now. Now, we got to be careful because we don't have any more victory points. So once this is up, once we run out of people here, we're in quite a lot of trouble. And I also see another Fallschirmjäger unit arriving here. Here we go. They got pretty aggressive, and as you can see, the AT gun did actually resupply there. So they absolutely have the ability to resupply, and look at this Fallschirmjäger unit. Do you guys see how beefy these Fallschirmjägers are getting? Up to 18. These are very, very large units. They outnumber our men dramatically. So I'm actually going to target the AT gun here, because I think our Matildas are going to have to make the big difference, potentially even attacking that unit. But first of all, I want to see if we can get any special shots with our Greek troops. We could also dig in and just have defensive bonuses. But we already have a dig in here. So I'm going to open up. I'm going to try to take out the 5th Fallschirmjäger unit here this turn. And the Greek Mountain Brigade will have the honor of taking them out, defending their territory here. That is looking great. They were over there in some Greek villages. We can't have that. Unacceptable. We've now got our marksmen. And really, the goal here with this guy is try to weaken the enemy forces as much as possible. We simply cannot take on that many Germans. We'll be completely annihilated. Let's move up. We can engage with our tank, but we're going to take a hit in response as well. So it is a bit of a trade-off. I think a worthwhile trade-off, though. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my infantry unit up on top of this mountain. So we'll be able to get a spot on just about everything in the valley beneath us. But what I really wanted to do was make way for additional units. So let's bust on through with the Rolls Royce, and you can see that was a major mistake. The pack is going to hurt us way more than we're going to hurt it. I'm actually just going to stay put. I would not typically do this. We could also do an infantry pushback ability. That's also a good idea. Let's do the infantry pushback ability here and see what it does to the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. Oh, okay, so the artillery did offer support to that infantry. We still got hit, but we did manage to push them back. In this situation, I don't know how helpful that's actually going to be, but obviously, you know, depending on the situation we're in game, it could be very helpful. I know we're not supposed to attack AT guns with tanks, but these are desperate times, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So we're going to go ahead, open up on them, start pushing forward with any and all infantry that can make the journey, and we shall end the turn. I have to say, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous on this fight. Let's look up here. We can see that the Germans have machine guns, a machine Gewehr. They've also got some additional Fallschirmjäger units arriving, and we know that when they land, there are a whole lot of these guys. Three of 16 here in Crete. Alright, I'm gonna have to get, of course, our good old-fashioned ship. Our infantry can target the AT gun. I'm gonna focus on the enemy Fallschirmjäger unit. They're trying to back up here in this urban area, and I think we absolutely need to follow up. Did we not do any damage there? What a shame. We may not have. But what if I go for a charge? So let's push over here. I should have pushed up here. Thankfully, there's an undo button right there. So let's click the undo button. We're going to push forward, and I'm actually going to engage the infantry. We're going to do another pushback. Also managed to pin him, so he's not going to be able to attack next turn. These are all good things, and I'm not going to allow our tanks to take the risk against that pack gun. I'm going to let our glorious Greek infantry unit here, our Greek mountain troops, I believe. Yeah, the Greek mountain brigade up here from the safety of the mountain, looking down on the valley beneath them. Let's open fire. Although, as you can see, it doesn't look like they're going to get a kill necessarily. Maybe we get another shot with these this Greek mountain brigade. Very good. So we have cleared the main route, guys. This is, of course, like the main objective. Anytime you see something like this in a game, or in this game, it is going to be a supply drop. Now, it could give you another unit. In this case, I think it's just going to give us a nice boost on supplies, and this really allows us to go to town. So let's get another Matilda. We'll get some more infantry units as well, because in this battle specifically, we are facing a lot of enemy infantry. So I'm going to go ahead, drop that there. Let's get this Matilda, open fire. We are going to take some damage. That's okay. We've got replacement tanks. And let's get up on the mountain with our mountain brigade. This way, next turn, we should be able to respond perfectly and annihilate that Fallschirmjäger unit. Of course, the concern here is there are a tremendous amount of units up to the north. This unit can cover more ground. So one ability we have, specifically with this British unit, and it's going to be called the 2nd Rifle Brigade, is we can click this button, turn him into a truck, move him closer, and then, of course, get him out of the truck. This really is just a movement issue, trying to get to a location faster, because if we just march there, it'll take us 2 or 3 turns to get up where our boys are now. Like this because they're now staying out of range of our ships. They're getting smart. We can't reach all the way out there, so we can still hit these guys, we can still hit these guys, and I absolutely want to hit these guys. Also because we have 3 really beautiful tiles here, and if we could surround them, we might not be able to do that this turn, but if we could eventually surround them, it's going to be very good for our boys. So before I attack, I want to make sure they are surrounded, and let's start the attack. Despite the fact that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Matilda here is much, much stronger than the Rolls-Royce Mark 1. The thing about the Rolls-Royce Mark 1 is it's a very skinny vehicle. It can drive through the very narrow Greek streets, and it's got a machine gun on it that's much more effective against infantry. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. We also want to keep in mind we've got the pierce ability, the penetrate ability, I should say, with the Matilda. We simply really haven't had the need to use that. So for now, at least, we are not going to be using that ability. Let's see if our boys can take out the enemy here, and I'm going to go for a sniper shot. Wow, look at that. It would actually do some damage. Instead, I'm going to push up this way, and I'm going to use my sniper shot against one of the existing units. Let's fire on the machine gewehr. I love those British snipers, man. They really are saving the day right now. Push forward with the Matty. I'll call it a Matty from now on. Now, I wonder, I should have tried that ability, because the Matilda has that pushback ability. I wonder if we push this infantry unit off to the ocean, does it automatically surrender? It might. It might. If not, something that the frontline guys should consider for sure. Let's go for it. Good job, boys. Good job. Now we're just evening out the line, but I will get these guys into trucks. And look at that. They can actually get to the front line this turn. I thought it was going to take 2 turns. No. This is invaluable. And while we're at it, you know what? If it means taking out one of these units, I am actually going to target the machine gewehr. Got to be careful, too, because there's an anti-tank weapon back here, but I don't want to spend any more points on that. Let's get another Vickers. And you know what? For good measure, we'll get another Greek Mountain Brigade. Okay, full push. Yes, they see those 3 tiles, and as you can see, 3 men on 3 tiles versus 2 tiles. They do have a slight advantage for sure. I think the important thing now is to destroy that unit. Let's use our damage tank, because I want to push him back. And then I want to take the marksman, get another sniper shot here. We are just crushing the machine gewehr, and I think he's close enough for us to reach. Yes, he is, he is. I see that as a bigger threat than just about anything on this battlefield, so let's see if we can't take him out once and for all with the Rolls-Royce. God, I love those Rolls-Royce tanks. Just wonderful. Over here, we're going to get closer. I'm not sure if we're going to attack. Look at that. We would get annihilated in that attack. So let's go ahead and get our guys out of the vehicles. Let's open fire. We might get lucky. Luck counts for a lot in this game, I will say that. You don't just want to... You know, if you have a chance to take a shot and not take any damage, take the shot, for goodness sakes. Let's try to soften him up a bit. 800 for the airstrike. It's a lot, I'll admit it. But if we can damage them significantly here, it's going to make it that much easier to wrap up the battle and get a beautiful victory. As you can see, the Greek mountain brigades, despite moving much better and also performing a lot better in these mountain zones, they don't have the truck ability that the British units do. So if you're going for, like, speed, you're definitely going to want to consider the good old-fashioned British rifle brigades. Cheap, inexpensive, and very quick. Yeah, this is what I was worried about, the overwhelming strength of the Fallschirmjäger troops on the battle right now. I'd like to complete this battle just like we did the last one without a casualty, but we may not get that option this time. So there we go. Soften them up, boys. Misfire. I was not expecting that. So we missed completely, essentially. It's going to be a tough one. I think we should have gone for another sharpshooter. Another sharpshooter. Let's do it. I mean, we've got to attack. We've got to do something. Here's what I'll do. Infantry suppression. Can we push through? Oh, I really wish we could. I'm going to take a shot there either way. I don't think it's going to be an effective one. And I'm going to charge here despite taking losses. Because, again, sometimes you have to make sacrifices to achieve that final goal, right? So we're going to do just that. They've beaten our tanks up pretty well during this fight. critical hit there with the AT. That was their anti-tank weapon. Absolutely, absolutely destroyed our tank. No question about it. The only reason I'm moving this infantry unit here, it's purely so that I can move additional units into the area. Let's take a sniper shot, and we're definitely going to aim. Oh, we can't aim. We can't aim at the AT gun. All right, let's fire at the Fallschirmjägers still inside the town. It's a misfire. And let's move up with the Matilda. We could attempt that infantry suppression thing, see if we could push them off the map. I'm going to try it, because, like, the thing is, right now we can actually do a lot of damage, but just to see what would happen, I'm curious. Alright, so maybe they'll just be suppressed until next turn. I was kind of hoping they would be knocked off into the ocean. I think that was hoping for too much. Alright. We're almost there, although I will say, I didn't expect us to take this many losses during the battle. The enemy put up a very good fight. Towards the end. Initially, it was nothing. And this is kind of how the Battle of Crete played. You know, like I said, the British did not dedicate a lot of men to the island itself because they had the ocean around it completely under their control. So when the Germans landed with the Fallschirmjägers, it was an all-out fight. I mean, it really was. All-out slugfest. Alright, prepare those deck guns. We're going to fire directly on the enemy's anti-tank weapon. Beautiful. The Panzer Fusilier. Of course, we've got some very damaged units, but we might need to go ahead and make that push. Attack either way. Nice. It sometimes works, as you can see. Even at a distance, even when it's 0-0, we occasionally break through with a nice shot. And it's only fair for the Matilda to get the final kill there. Let's move her on through and engage the enemy. The funny thing is, despite them being an anti-tank crew, and typically they would do very well with an attack from a Vickers, since they've been hit so many times, they cannot retaliate. They've got no action points to actually fight back. They are very tired and probably taking cover at this very moment. Can we get a kill with the sniper, or... No, I think just a standard attack would be more useful to us. The Greeks shall have their liberty, boys. Alright, now we dedicate all forces to rooting out the remaining Germans here, and that should be it. I mean, I hope so. I hope that we've achieved a victory here. At this point, I am just going to continue the onslaught. We're kind of mopping up here, mopping up the remainder of the Germans. There could be more for all I know. We know that previously in this battle, a bunch landed before we expected them to on the northern side of the island. Or really, it's more on the eastern side of the island. So that could happen again. In the meantime, I'm just going to surround them as best I can. Fire when capable, of course. And just wipe this unit off the field. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go, Fallschirmjäger? I was thinking that could have potentially been a location to take. That's it, guys. They're down to 1. This has to be the end of the fight. I believe every single German unit has either been captured or destroyed at this point, but let's see who gets the glory of the kill. I actually think we should give it to the Greeks. So I'm going to move this guy here. I'm going to move the Greek unit here to liberate their island. Good shot. That's got to be it, guys. A victory, and this time a decisive victory. We completed every single one of the objectives, although, unfortunately, we did lose one unit. I was trying to avoid that. Now next, it looks like we're going up to the Battle of the Ardennes, but it looks like if we want to, we can also jump to the Battle of the Coral Sea, or this bonus fight right here, which I'm still not familiar with. I have to say I'm a big fan of the Pacific conflict, so I'm going to go for the Coral Sea campaign. This is a major naval battle between the Imperial Japanese Navy and the Naval and Air Forces of the United States and Australia. Taking place in the Pacific theater of World War II, the battle is historically significant as the first action in which aircraft carriers engaged each other. Meaning this is going to be a nice fight. We have to try and sink the Shokaku. This is an actual Japanese carrier at the time, extremely advanced for Japan. And we get some additional points if we also sink the submarines. So you can see here that we're not just going for infantry. I mean, we can also have naval battles. We can, we can have air battles, etc. I really like this. The thing we need to be very careful about is to make sure that when we engage the enemy, we're engaging them with fighter aircraft and not engaging them with our bombers, because our bombers can't do much. But what I'd like to do is actually destroy the enemy's capability for fighter aircraft, put simply. So I'm immediately going to approach with the Hellcat, and I'm trying to attack enemy Zeros here. Beautiful! Utterly destroyed them. And one reason that could be is that Zeros, despite being highly maneuverable, very, very fast, you can see they avoided that, and that's probably due to their high maneuverability. Despite all that, they had very light armor, extremely light armor. And so you can see that with one good gun run, we can waste a whole group of them, but actually hitting them is a bit of a challenge, without a doubt. So we got some sub-chasers here. I guess the closest thing to this would be an actual torpedo boat. We are going to go ahead and pop forward with all of our sub-chasers, and let's see what else we can purchase. We can get some additional Hellcats. We are going to need some torpedoes as well, but right now, my main goal is to not only complete the objectives, which we just did, but also to destroy the enemy's ability to use their fighter aircraft. If we can do that, I think we can win this fight. Man, they utterly crushed our sub-chaser. They utterly crushed our attacking aircraft here. So you can see a much faster fight with much faster reaction time than our land-based combat, which means we need to respond in kind. We need to be quick here. So let's put all our focus on this guy. Bring in the Hellcats. Come on, boys. You gotta shoot better than that. I'm even going to fall back with one of our existing units just to strike against their fighters. And there we go. Beautiful. Very good against the Zeros. Getting rid of their Zeros is going to be so important. And while we're here, we might as well go for the hit on the enemy submarine with our SBD-3s. Now, here's the problem, is you can see the evade chance is 50%. That's a good evade chance. That's a really good evade chance. It is smoking, so we definitely damaged it. But what I'm going to do is just push these guys back and move forward with the sub-chaser. Glory to the U.S. Navy and Air Force. That thing is going to the bottom of Davy Jones' locker as fast as you can imagine. I love it. We need to keep our eyes on our other ships here, specifically the other enemy ships, because they're going to become a problem in their own. In fact, I'm going to purchase another SBD-3, aka some more Hellcat bombers. Sorry, just some more SBD-3s. The Hellcats are our fighters. Although I believe you can have a torpedo Hellcat, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least I've seen it in some iterations of World War II games. Oh boy. Oh man, it's too much damage. Return fire, knock them out of the sky, boys. Maybe we should have purchased another fighter aircraft. Okay, what I really want to do is take out the enemy sub, but we could potentially, with our sub-chaser here, actually knock the Zero out of the sky. I'm going to fire. I'm not sure if our dive bomber has that same ability, but I'm going to try. And glory. Absolute glory there. It does. It can attack. It's obviously not going to be as effective against the enemy planes as it would against the enemy ships, but it does have actual guns on it. It can shoot them down. Now, again, I'm going for the enemy fighter aircraft. We can always take out their ships. We just knocked out 2 chits of that fighter group, but we lost our entire Hellcat group. Just imagine the terror, right, of being in the actual Pacific Ocean, surviving an actual attack, you know, in your plane, and crashing in the ocean and having to wait for support. I mean, it must be horrifying, to say the least. Here we go. Got a shot on the 0. Beautiful. And the final kill, guys, is of course going to be going for the enemy cruiser, the Shokaku. If we can knock out the Shokaku, well, that's all. I was going to say that's half the battle. That's all the battle right there. So let's put in another torpedo group. At this point, we cannot allow the enemy to dominate the skies, or we are in serious trouble. And they have destroyed our poor little torpedo chaser. Luckily, the torpedo chaser had already accomplished his target. Hopefully those guys will be able to get off and survive in the jungles here. Now we can get an easy kill right now. They avoided us, unfortunately. I'm actually going to take one of our torpedo boats, or one of our torpedo planes, and start hitting the aircraft carrier. That Shokaku is tough, man, and he can fight back. You can see that. So it's incumbent upon us to use these Hellcats to knock these guys out of the sky quickly. As you can see, we lost 1 chit there. We knocked out 2 chits, though, and I'm hoping that our SBD-3 can finish the job here against the Empire of Japan. I think it's looking pretty good. It's on the turn. Can we do anything with our aircraft carrier? Like, no, I don't think so. We can just drop smoke, which we might as well use it, right? We're not going to encounter any enemies, but we might as well use it. That smoke ability would be much more useful in a massive naval battle, of course. Alright, guys, broken arrow. Everybody go for the aircraft carrier. Critical hit. We got him, boys. I like that. Wow. We actually get a view of the aircraft carrier sinking there, surrounded by all of the Japanese planes that we have destroyed. That's really cool. Well, also the planes that were on the aircraft carrier, I can imagine. And another victory for us, folks. A decisive victory. Completing just about every single one of the tasks set ahead of us. And now we can jump into the Ardennes, or even the bonus. But I think the bonus is special, and I'm curious to see what the Ardennes offer here. The Germans achieved a total surprise attack on the morning of 16th of December 1944 due to a combination of Allied overconfidence, preoccupation with Allied offensive plans, and poor aerial reconnaissance. Due to bad weather, American forces bore the brunt of the attack and incurred their highest casualties of any operation during the war. Interesting. Let's see. The battle also severely depleted Germany's armed forces, and they were largely unable to replace them. So the Ardennes, I actually was not aware that the Ardennes was the bloodiest battle so far of the war. It makes total sense. But we've got Ranger regiments here. We've got Sherman Fireflies. Absolutely one of my favorite tanks of the war. And even the Germans, as you can see, it's absolutely looking like late war gear here. Pretty terrifying stuff. They've got bunkers. To even make it to the point of the map where we actually need to get to our mission goal, we need to break through. And we can see that the enemy is sending Fallschirmjägers into the forest behind them. We know what those Fallschirmjägers did last time. I can only assume they would cause us great misery this time. Anyway, guys, I do hope that you enjoyed this battle series here that I did for Frontline Games. I would recommend you guys take a look at it, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Maybe we'll even come back and complete the battle. Thank you, folks. Take care. All right, boys and girls, we are back to do a little more Ardennes combat, and I really wanted to try out this heavy machine gun with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Rangers save the day. Let's see how we do against this Panzer Fusilier. And really, what I want to do is just knock out any and all anti-tank weapons before we move any of our tanks up. So we're going to just dedicate ourselves here to doing that. Should have done the sniper shot. Do we get mortar attack? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's here. That's the 155 millimeter cannon. So let's move him up. And even though the AT team is dangerous, I absolutely see the pack gun as much more dangerous. Light that pack up. I think we need to bring in some infantry support because we've got German units there. In fact, I'm going to bring in an M2 Browning machine gun. That's beautiful. Let's get that M2 Browning, and let's get a Ranger battalion. Yeah, I don't want to risk the Stewart, but what I was thinking is of using the infantry suppression ability. There's nowhere to push them to. We know that's not going to knock them off the map, so for now I'm just going to kind of push the Stewart here. I hope we're not in range of their pack gun. And we've also got a US HQ. Now this is interesting, and we're just now looking at this, but this can refit and resupply any type of unit. So tank units, infantry units, etc. And in previous battles, we did not have that ability. It looks like in this battle, we do have that ability. We should definitely use it. It also means we can be a little more adventurous, I think, with our tanks. We can push a little bit more, even though the enemy will probably knock out quite a few of these tanks. We'll at least get off to a pretty decent start. Now, luckily, because of this situation, the enemies actually sort of trapped themselves. Sure, they've got these great bunkers over here, which they could use to totally decimate our infantry, but they've also stopped their ability from getting any reinforcements in. Everything they have here is what they're going to have on this side. We know that for sure. So now we can be really aggressive. First, I'm going to try to soften the area up, of course. Let's soften the pack gun up. Go ahead and soften up with artillery, and I'm even going to try to potentially attack with the tank. If I can help it, I won't, but if I need to, I certainly will open up with the tank. Let's open fire here. I think we get a kill for sure. Yes, we do on the pack gun, and eventually what we're going to want to start doing is working on these bunkers. In fact, it was a mistake to move into the bunker tile here. The only time you should be moving into a bunker tile is when you plan to actually attack it. I'm going to see how our tanks do against it. Open fire there on the bunker and try to knock it out. I would not take the risk against an AT infantry unit. But we could have attacked the regular infantry unit. That's true. Move the HQ over here. And I guess we need to be right next to a unit to actually provide that support. And it's probably got to be a turn where we don't move the actual unit itself. This is why I was a little concerned about moving the tanks up. But again, we've got that HQ, and we can use our points to resupply these units. You know, make sure that all the veterans are taken care of, etc. And we'll have a much higher chance of actually securing a victory. Now, I've wanted to get this machine gun into combat for ages, and now we can finally take her into combat. Well, we're definitely going to take some hits, and I think it's also because of the artillery back here, but it's just a flat gun, so it can't be that. I'm guessing that the bunkers are providing supporting fire. Let's fire. I love the sound of that gun. I love the sound of the actual Browning. Let's keep attacking, but I'm thinking we should pull back with the tank. That Firefly back here. Good job, man. You've got to love the good old Rangers. They've absolutely destroyed the bunker, and now upon taking the area, we actually gain additional points to bring in some more units, including a Jackson tank. I haven't seen the M36 represented in a game in a long, long time. So that's nice to see. Not even sure how effective this tank was in combat. Maybe somebody could let us know. All right. Well, we're going to do what we did before, and that is, yeah, pretty much. Look at that, let's do that. Pretty much just overwhelm the bunker with infantry and attack. The infantry absolutely seem to be more useful against these bunkers, although I would also guess that they probably take more damage from the bunker. You can see the attributes there of what it does most damage against, least damage against, etc. Definitely hits harder against infantry units, but they seem to be very good at taking these bunkers out. All right, we still got a shot here with our artillery. I was expecting something much stronger than this. But gotta do what we gotta do. Fire at the Grossdeutschland division. And they were in those homes. It seems they hid themselves well enough to not be discovered by our artillery rounds. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching this far. You know what you need to do if you want us to continue the Battle of the Ardennes here and show you some more of the Frontline series. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and of course take a look at the series itself. See what you think. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I hope you'll show up to our future battles. See you then.